now we will go on to what other things you do when you are discussing your topic. One is giving examples. I mentioned earlier that giving examples is important. How do you add linkers to indicate that you're giving an example? You would say, for instance, for example, to give an example, such as, in the same way as, or just as, likewise. So these are certain ways in which you will introduce your example. That is, you will introduce your point that you're going to give an example. You will indicate that. Then there are some words that we use to give the reasons. Remember, one of the things that you're expected to do is to give reasons for some situation. So why is this situation or trend there? For example, if the topic is about trends in music, so you may be discussing with the examiner some trends in music these days, currently. So the examiner may ask, so what do you think is the reason for the popularity of this kind of music? Or what is the trend in modern music today? So you will have to give some reasons for that trend. That you can say such and such kind of music is popular because, or due to, because of, and since, and owing to. For example, we might say that certain kinds of music has become popular because of or owing to the developments in digital communication, so that a lot of music is available digitally, and that makes certain kinds of music popular. So you can give some reasons by using phrases like because of, due to, owing to. That will clearly show that you are sure about the reasons why some situation is there. Similarly, conditions. So you're describing certain conditions, and then you have to say, now, if, unless, provided that, depending on. So if we are looking at the problem of traffic in cities, so you could say traffic in cities could be improved if. So you use the word if. But if you're going to put it in negative, so you say traffic in cities cannot be improved unless. So you see where you will use unless. In the first case, you're using the positive. Traffic in cities can be improved if such and such actions are done. Right? So that is a positive statement. Say traffic in cities cannot be improved unless such and such things are done. So that is putting both the words in negative, cannot and unless. Or we can also say provided that. So we can say traffic in cities can be improved provided that certain conditions are followed or certain improvements are made, provided that. Okay, so that is how you will use this phrase. Or that traffic in cities can be improved depending on such and such improvements or such and such developments. All right. So this is how you will use these linking words. Then you have to often explain consequences and results of something. As a result of, consequently, thus, thereby, following, then, therefore. This kind of thing is very useful in history. So suppose you are asked to explain the consequences of war, let's say. So then you would say, for example, when such and such war took place, as a result of that, this happened, or as a result of this particular political event, this happened. Then you would say consequently, that means after that. So you use these words when you're narrating something. When you narrate a story, you'll say then, thus, following that this happened, after that this happened, Consequently, this happened. Now remember that there are two words that you might often mistake. One is subsequently and the other is consequently. Subsequently simply means one thing after another. Sequence. Remember that this word has got sequence in it. So you say first this happened, then this happened, then this happened. That is sequential. That is sequential, and that is one thing happened after another in that order. But when you say consequently, you mean that the thing which happened later depends upon the thing which has happened earlier. So if you would say that there is a growth of population in the cities, so you make a point like this, that there has been a great expansion and growth of population in the cities. Consequently, so consequently means as a result of that. Consequently, there is a lot of pressure on the water and electricity resources. So what that means is that you're linking the later thing that has happened later with what has happened earlier. So this relationship between the thing which has happened earlier, the event that took place earlier, and the event which took place later. So they have some relationship with each other. And what's the relationship? The relationship is that one thing is the cause of the other. So the thing which happened first becomes the cause, and what happens later becomes the effect of that, the result of that. All right? So it's very important to understand this, because when you're discussing a topic, you're asked to give the consequences of something or the results of something, or when you discuss or explain some phenomena that is taking place, then you have to show how it began, then what it resulted in, what came further after that. That is where you will use this kind of language. Consequently, thus, thereby, following, therefore, this happened, therefore, because something happened earlier, therefore, as a result of that, something else took place. All right? And then, of course, when we talk about anything, we have to take into account the time factor. That something could have happened before and then something else has happened, or you're explaining what the conditions were like in the world earlier on, and then you describe what happens later on. So you use these words like before, earlier, later, since, whenever, simultaneously. Now, simultaneously means at the same time. The two events taking place at the same time. And after or until this happens. So there's a condition over there that until this decision is made, we cannot take any action further. So until, so that is a condition. So now the same thing has to be done by you. That is, if you have understood all these different linkers and parts of sentences, now you have to practice adding these to your sentences when speaking. So when you speak, you can add these to your sentences. This is like punctuation is there, that your sentences have to be punctuated with certain words like these. And where to use these words, this is something that you have to understand very well. And you can practice them by writing them down first and then speaking them. I would suggest to you that you write down some of the sentences and speak them out loud, record your speech, and then you can send it for feedback. You can record your sentences and you will get to know whether you have used these words correctly or not.